Hi, this is Austin Parsons, Pitmaster with Smoky Mountain Q in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
He ate 54 wieners. But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seed.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour, Barbecue Central show, where we talk about only the most high-level barbecue and grilling-related items that are happening in the industry. We just got done doing that with our pal Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com. So if you're tuning in, wondering what happened in the first hour, you can rest easy. We're not going to do a whole reset here right now, but you can get the podcast, audio or video. Video automatically archives as soon as the show ends at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight, every Tuesday. The first hour of the show on Audible Podcast will be available very, very early tomorrow morning, Wednesday. Second hour available on Thursdays. And we'll talk about Friday here in just a second. The show originating from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Two things to update you on. I'm still recovering from my first cold in 10 years, 11 years. So if you hear a little more nasally than normal, if you hear a little bit more bassy deepness, that's from the cold. Update number two, I still haven't called the colonoscopy office to ask why the hell I don't have my high register. That's my fault. I know I said it last week, but I'm really going to try to remember to call into the office and go, why can't I get to the high notes anymore? Because I used to be able to get there with frequency and regularity, and now I can't even talk a little bit higher than where I'm at right now. This is my new normal, and that's not going to be good enough. I got at least another 15 years on this earth. I need to have my full range in order to be the best version of myself and the most entertaining for people, both you, the audience, and just people that are around me casually in real life. I don't want to be cheating you because I'm trying to be safe. I'm not saying this should show you not to be safe, not at all. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell happened to my high register. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, which I know is on this evening, which is great. We were off last week, but that's all been worked out. Twitter.com/BBQ Central Show also has a live feed, and YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show also has a live feed. We do have a new YouTube poll question of the week. And we're asking everybody this. If you were on the fence about Smoke Slam, you are now 100% down after the interview last week. And for the first hour, especially in that first 30-minute stretch, we were at 80-20 yeses. We are now almost as close as it gets. 55% of you are now saying yes, and 45% of you are now saying no. Right around that typical vote total. So there's probably not going to be a whole lot more votes here over the next 45 minutes or so, but we will continue to track it and give you results beginning of the show next week. But it is pulling very close to 50-50, much closer than I thought before. So that means there's a lot of folks out there who think that Smoke Slam is not a good thing and that it's not helping, it's only hurting by being on those same dates, and we talked about that top of the first hour anyways, and if you missed that, you can get it on podcast or video replay at your convenience. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday. Episode 322, if you can believe it, taking you back to February 28th of 2012, 12 years ago, very shortly, featuring the master planker himself, Ted Reeder. Hey-oh! See, I used to be able to go, hey-oh, but I can't do it. Anyway, I call Ted Reeder the master planker because, true to the name, he is a master at cooking on wood planks. In fact, I'm not sure there is anything that Ted hasn't tried cooking on wood plank during his time in the live fire industry. Remember, Ted is a classically trained chef. He has held many corporate positions during his time in profession, including executive chef at the Sky Dome in Toronto when it first opened, and then for many years after that. He has done a lot of product development for many of the biggest name brands, not only in Canada, but in North America in general. He has taught classes at the collegiate level, or as they say in Canada, at university. So very accomplished on that side of things, but also as accomplished, maybe more so now on the live fire side of things. Things that come to my mind as we talk about what has Ted planked. As I look back on past interviews, I think about things like mashed potatoes and gravy, chili, Twinkies injected with Jack Daniels because that's Ted's favorite drink, or was at least. He's done cookies. He's done breads. He has smoked gum on planks, gum that you put in your mouth and chew. He's done that on a plank. So if you're looking for some plank inspiration, if you're just new into the live fire industry, you've seen wood planks, thought about giving it a go this weekend, but you're a little unsure, Ted Reeder is your most well-known, most trained, again, the master planker of all planks. This is the guy you want to go to. This is the guy you want to seek out for guidance when it comes to planking. Short of him, always Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. He's a big planker as well. But Ted is the person. So this is a great way to get some inspiration by listening to the segment. And you have a great introduction to Ted Reeder if you've never heard about him before, if you're just new to this whole thing. Ted brings a lot of passion to cooking live fire each and every day on one of his, I think, 100-plus cookers that he's got in the backyard. Maybe it's even more than that. You can subscribe to The Best Moment Show by visiting thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment again that you feel has been lost in the archives, you can email John and let him know what you would like to hear. And John's email is jon@thebbqcentralshow.com. Again, jon@thebbqcentralshow.com. Another quick update. I gave you one last week, and we're doing it until I can't do it anymore. The raw chicken guy on Instagram, still alive, still pumping out raw chicken eating content. Today is day 33, and he has consumed raw chicken breast being disguised as a Chick-fil-A sandwich. So he's obviously in some type of mall today. I don't know if he technically shot it today. I assume he would. You got to keep that kind of thing in real time. But he's in a food court in a mall. He's got the Chick-fil-A paper wrap. He's got a Chick-fil-A drink, or at least a Chick-fil-A cup with a drink in it. And then he has a piece of raw chicken breast with a number of pickles. Of course, we know it can't come from Chick-fil-A specifically because Chick-fil-A gives you only 2 pickles. This one had at least 4 or 5, so you know there's no way in hell that actually came from a real Chick-fil-A because they would never deviate from what the rule and the prime directive is. And there he was, eating it, and eating it, and eating it, and swallowing it. So day 33 finds raw chicken experiment on Instagram. Well over 400,000 followers, which I still am baffled by, and not having a tummy ache. And they're a third of the way through. He's taking it through 100 days to see if he gets a tummy ache. within those 100 days. Again, dangerous. Don't do it. Just because he's doing it doesn't mean that you should try it in order to get 100,000 more followers on your social media. Carlos from Texas is writing in, hey, Greg, love the show. Was trying to remember the name of the band you mentioned as the officially unofficial band for the show. I noticed you changed some bumper music and you mentioned who they were. I've heard your conversations with, quote, Urquiza. That's all I can remember. Regards, Carlos. Carlos, thank you for writing in. And, of course, the band, the unofficially official? Let's call the officially unofficial band of the Barbecue Central show. 3 Years Hollow. Oh, yes. Come on. 3 Years Hollow. Find them on Spotify. Find them wherever you stream music. They are a signed band now. I'm not saying that the show had anything to do with it, but can't hurt. This song playing right now, 3 Years Hollow. It's a whole song. It's not just this 2-minute loop of 30 seconds of the song that I wedged out. It's a whole song. I would sing it for you, but I got the voice. Grab 'em in the Brisket, a Texas podcast, has made it in here this evening. By the way, what is it, John? 2023 barbecue podcast, NBBQA's 2023, I'm guessing, maybe it's 2024, best barbecue podcast. Grab them in the Brisket. So check them out if you haven't done that. They're number one, baby. Carlos, thank you for writing in. Check out 3 Years Hollow. Steve Ray is ready to jump in. Before we get to Steve, we'll talk to you about Franklin Barbecue Pits. What you have here with the Franklin Barbecue Pit is a deeply thought out and refined version of the old propane-style cooker that Aaron uses for his Franklin Barbecue restaurant in Austin. Stylistically, it reflects the kind of bare-bones, industrial, handmade aesthetic that he loves, as in the patina, and the way the build allows you to see the welds and the craftsmanship. Primarily built with 1/4-inch thick American-made steel, it's strong. It's built to last for 100 years or more, as long as you care for it properly. So go to FranklinBBQPits.com. You can buy one, or you can find a certified dealer near you. Did I mention this? Maybe you own a barbecue supply store, or you're thinking about opening one up. And aside from rubs and sauces and accessories and other nonsense, you want to carry the most elite line of cookers you can get your hands on. What's more elite than a Franklin Barbecue Pit? Nothing. Few are. Sure, you have pits and spits, no doubt elite, but Franklin right up there as well. Offset cooker, not 50 different products to choose from. It's this one. They have some sauces, some rubs, some other accessory revenue streams for you to bring in. But if you're thinking about bringing in the best in your store, do yourself a favor. Go to FranklinBBQPits.com, hit the contact button, and then send them off a note. Tell them you would like to be considered to become a certified Franklin Barbecue Pit dealer. Matt will reach out, see if you guys can put a deal together. If you want something that sells itself, get it on the floor, let people walk around it. It might take a time or two in the store. All of a sudden, people are starting to pull triggers, and now they're raving about how much they love their Franklin Pit. FranklinBBQPits.com. Tell them the Barbecue Central show sent you when you send an email or a phone call, whatever you do. And we'll be back with Steve Ray right after this. Stick around.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central show.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a professional cooker you want to add to the arsenal. You visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central show sent you. then reap the rewards of cooking on upright barrel cookers. My first guest in the second hour was at the 2024 HPBExpo last week in Nashville, Tennessee. He spent last Wednesday walking the show and checking out everything that was on display. And tonight we're going to get his recap, what he liked, what he thought was nonsense, and everything in between. By the way, if you're in Ooltewah, Tennessee, you should stop by his barbecue supply store, Owl's Nest Barbecue. And of course, you can fuel up at his historic gas and service station, Steve Ray's Midnight Oil. We are happy to welcome back our pal, Steve Ray, to the show. Steve, before we get into HPBExpo stuff, let's ask you the YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, and of course, everybody watching on YouTube. If you were on the fence about SmokeSlam, you are now 100% down after the interview with Melzy Wilson last week, yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you offended, like some other folks, that there is a upstart competition going head-to-head with one of the majors in competition barbecue history, or do you think that's a bunch of poppycock?
No, it gets back, Greg. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So, if they want to, apparently there's some bad feelings between some people in Memphis and Maine. They've branched out, and I think it's a pretty ballsy move, really.
I love the money. I've never seen such money being thrown around in a barbecue contest. I mean, 50. The last time I heard anybody walk away with a $50,000 prize, that was the only money that anybody was walking away with. There were maybe 5 or 6 teams. It was at the Kingsford Invitational back in 2014 or 2013 or whatever the hell. I was out in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. Where the hell was the name? Damn it. Bell, Illinois, where a Kingsford charcoal plant was up on a hill with cows. And they had.
You were on that show, weren't you?
I mean, I don't think I ever made it on television, per se. They did have a TV crew around there. I don't know if I made it on the big screen or not. Maybe you saw like a flash in my baseball cap or something like that. But they had like Melissa Cookston and Lucky's Q, Pigskin Barbecue, maybe a handful of other folks. And the winner won $50,000. But there weren't ancillaries and there weren't additional prize monies. It was winner take all $50,000. So you have that amount if you win it, one of the main 3 meets. But then if you win some of the ancillaries, you can win, $7,000 or $5,000. I mean, this is a big money payout.
Yeah, WFC's involved in it.
Yep.
It's $250,000 total prize package. It's and I heard you talking about they signed a 10-year agreement with the venue. That's pretty strong. 10 years. That's a long time, man. 10 years.
You ever been to the HPBExpo in the past, Steve?
No, I never have. It was never really that close to us. It's hard to travel, and Nashville is just an hour and I think about an hour and 40 minutes from here, and it just happened at a great time and a great location, and we booked our seats early, and we were really excited about going.
How well attended? Now, again, this is your first time in, but you know what a lot of people look like and what a lot of people don't look like regardless. And being able to put that into context of how big the facility is also. How well attended do you think the event was on the Wednesday you were there?
You could get around easy. The hall was not filled by any stretch of the imagination. There's plenty of room left if you wanted to rent a space. Not terribly crowded. You didn't have to wait in line for lunch. Didn't have to wait in line for drinks. You just walked right up and got them. It was very casual, very nice, a nice time to attend. The day we were there, they were closing early at 5 to have some sort of an award ceremony. But other than that, I don't know how Tuesday was. I don't know how. I imagine Thursday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I thought it was kind of a strange, in the middle of the week. I would think that those things would be on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but what do I know? They know more than I do.
Last year when I went to Louisville, aside from it being freezing cold, there was a shocking number of billiards, darts, and other indoor recreation companies displaying their stuff. Same this year?
Darts.
darts.
There weren't any billiards, but there were two big dart vendors there. That was about the only thing.
Is that weird?
I don't know. I don't play darts, but I'm in the minority. I don't, a lot of people throw darts at their house. I didn't see any of the, what's the little things you pitch at the plywood things? What's that called?
Like that disc
they play
bowling
them
type of shuffleboard?
No, not, you a bean bag. You throw a bean bag in a hole.
Cornhole.
What's that called? Yeah, cornhole. There wasn't any cornhole vendors there. I thought there were some cornhole boards there, but I thought there would be a company selling cornhole boards because that's so popular. But there wasn't. So
you took some photos.
Darts was about it.
That's right. You took some photos for us to take a look at. So
yeah.
Again, if you're getting this on audio for the first time, and as you're hearing us talk about them, and your interest is piqued, make sure you go over to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, where you can get the video replay, and then you can watch along as we're talking here. So I'm going to just pull up the pictures here. We'll start with our pals over at Green Mountain Grills. So if you want to just walk us through and, tell us what we're looking at, and then any thoughts that you had specifically, you care to comment, go ahead and take it away.
Well, obviously that's the Green Mountain Grill setup. That's a peak on the left and a ledge on the right. The Trek is on the right, but you can't see it. They also had a ripped on the left side. You can't see it yet. We'll have some pictures of it. Not a big impressive booth, but good enough to see what they had to offer. See all of the different the new features of the grills. I thought it was plenty to look at, not overwhelming by any stretch of the imagination. It seemed to fit the product lineup, and I enjoyed it.
You have experience with Green Mountain Grills. You've been a GMG dealer for a while now. So when you look at this new model of GMG compared to what you've been carrying in the store otherwise, what do you like about it?
Oh, it looks a lot better. It's got that blacked out thing going on. They've got the inside is very unique. Gray, I don't know if you had one. The deflector it's a lot smaller, which will make it have a better smoke flavor. It'll make it heat up faster. The drip pan is a little more narrow, so the smoke can come out a little bit better. The little things like that, I think that'll make the taste of the food better. It's got a rack system that's going to go in the back, which is pretty neat. And other than that, it's the hoppers still hold. They increased it to 20 pounds instead of 18, which I thought was a good thing. I'm a fan. I know I sell them. I've been doing it for 4 years. I sell them, but I was a fan then, and I'm a bigger fan now. I'm really excited about getting them. And that, and I tell you, that Rip T thing's coming out next week. I don't know if it's pronounced Rip T or Ripped, whatever, RIPT.
Ripped.
That's it right. That's it right there. He's Jason Baker, who was there, said that they still got to do some tweaks to it. But if you go back, there's those two. If you can go back, you see those two bars there that go across. You can hang things from there. I'm a big fan of hanging food, and you can hang like sausages, or you can dangle a pork tenderloin off there, or a pork loin. That's the rack system that's in the back. It's going to have different configurations. That's a rib rack right there. There's a warming rack on there. It's not very expensive either. They still have the light in the window, and everybody laughs. That's a better shot. And there's a Primo. They were there in huge representation. They had a big booth set up.
Did you know that Primo was part of Empire Comfort System, which is they do the home heating logs, Empire Comfort? Did you know that?
No.
So that's why the booth was so big.
Oh, okay. I could see that. Those booths were they were expensive, man. There's one guy I talked to. We've got a picture of it. It's a little gun that's got the It lights the fire, then it's got a little fan that comes on. He was in a little 10 by 12 booth. He said his was $3,600.
Wow.
For the show. So the real estate there was pretty pricey.
All right, so we'll run through the primos here. I think this was so you
that's
got
a video
of the rotisserie basket going around on the rotisserie accessory. So it's got a little bit of an insert that sits on the inside of the lip there, and now we're walking over. So there's the griddle insert that you can see there. The middle pulls out of that griddle insert, Steve, so you have access to the flame then, or you could put in a grill grate, or what? Did you see that?
I didn't. No, I didn't take that close a look at them. I tell you what, it's a good looking smoker, and they were very busy in that booth. People were really interested in Primos.
Is that a brand you would think about carrying in the store, or ceramic cooker is a little out of range for your clientele?
No, they're in range. It's a matter of space with me. We've got Green Mountain Grill. We've picked up Pit Barrel again, which we're really excited about. Got Aaron Franklin's pit coming in, and we're looking at another one down in Texas. That will probably be. I'll have to utilize my space outside in the back that I've got undercover to start putting some stuff under there. But I don't know that much about the ceramic cookers or the Kamado type. I'm just not that familiar with it. I never used one. I had an egg for about a year. I never could figure out what the attraction was. I think it was a little hard to use, but I've never used a Primo, so they may be different.
All right, so let's get back to some of the other stuff that you saw at HPB. Here's Napoleon.
Yeah, Napoleon was good. They had a big setup. That's that company. Palm Sales is now my distributor for Green Mountain Grill, so I've got access to Napoleon products. That's their kettle and a table. I took that picture because they're pretty cheap. Retail about $2.99 on the kettle, and that little table combo is only $3.99. I thought that was a good price point if for that price conscious consumer. The salesperson said the only drawback is they're a little bit testy to assemble. I could see that.
That's bad news for me.
But that's bad news for everybody.
Yeah.
That's a neat thing. That's my backyard banger. These guys are out of California. That little jewel retails at $49.99.
Wow.
It's portable. It's portable. That's what makes it so unique. You hook the garden hose up to it. You can take it in the garage, out of the garage. If you're a renter, if you're like renting a house and you want to have an entertainment center and you don't want it built in, that would be the perfect thing for it. That little PowerPoint there, it goes up and goes down with just a push of a button. That was kind of cool. That was a nice. That was one of the highlights of the show as far as things I'm interested in.
Would you spend $4,500 on it, Steve?
Oh, it's $49.99.
Would you spend $5,000 on it, Steve?
That's the thing, Greg. But gosh, everything there's expensive. I mean, everything in my store is expensive. Everything in everybody else's store is expensive. It's there's a word for that. I was listening to a financial guy the other day on the local sports channel here in Chattanooga, and he called it funflation. And it was very unique conversation. He said everything that we do as hobbies and fun has increased more than the inflation for groceries, gasoline, cars. Our inflation for the fun things called funflation is leading the inflation index, and I believe that.
Yeah. All right, so here's our pals at Blackstone.
Yeah, that's our pal at Blackstone. It's nice. I mean, it's nice. It's $24.99 retail.
Wow.
It's full of chrome, full of tables that come out, and the Blackstone they had a huge area, and they were really busy. They were really talking it up. They're the number one in the game on the griddle game.
What's in the middle?
I've got
there?
an interest in. I think it's an air fryer. They incorporate air fryers in a lot of their stuff.
My Blackstone has not one, but two air fryers. And then next to the two air fryers, there's a warming drawer where they could have potentially put a third air fryer. I mean, they really love putting air fryers in their stuff. That
may be a warming drawer then. I'm not really sure.
Now that you mention it, it does look like an air fryer. It's got the basket. Looks like there's a drawer, a door that you would close shut. So very well could be an air fryer. People love air frying, I guess.
They were nice. They had some real good spokesmen there. Two gals were there and a guy, and they knew they had their product knowledge down. They were very professional group. I enjoyed the visit there, really did. And that's everybody's got a pizza. Greg, I tell you, that's the one thing that dominated that show was pizza ovens. Man, they were everywhere. Everybody's got a pizza oven. I mean, big ones, little ones. They had the $12,000 ones there. They had the $299 ones there. There's those expensive ones. They had the what's it called, the Alpha. Is that it? Was it Alpha, or what's the real expensive one that starts with an A? They were there.
Yep.
And man, they had them everywhere. Yeah, everybody's got a pizza oven.
These ones we're looking at, looks like the MSRP is towards $3,000 on that black one. So, and on a cart. So these are pretty expensive pizza ovens. Certainly not 20 grand like you would have if you got them shipped in from Italy, but higher end stuff, no doubt.
That was kind of a neat little grill. That's a Kamado encased in a square looking thing. Those were there. You can see the dome.
Yeah.
They have one that's non a smart one and a non-smart one, and that one right there is the non-smart. It's $14.99, and the one next to it is the one that's got electric start. It's got all of the temperature controls built in. It's $2,000. I think they're from I want to say Australia, I believe.
And if I'm looking at this one, is this like an 18.5-inch grill grate?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, well, that's not a lot of diameter there.
That's the only drum I saw. I was surprised that there weren't more drums there. As popular as drum cooking is right now, that one had a retail. That was kind of weird. They had a retail on that of, I think it was, I want to say $1,600.
Really?
But then they had, it's on the, if you can get it close up on that, it's got it written on that piece of paper. If I remember it correctly, let's see if we can.
$600.
Yeah, that's at the show.
Yeah.
The regular price was
$1,900 otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, you could buy it at the show for $600.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of weird. But it's they really make these drums now. They look like they're from Mars. We talked about it before I went up there. We were both kind of interested in grill cleaning products, and there wasn't anything I saw that was out of the ordinary. Those are the wood scrapers. Everybody's tried that. They were there. That guy was there. Let's see, what was the name of his company? He was a nice guy. He was Q Super Paul. His name was Paul Sierra. Proud Grill Company is what that was called.
All right.
He had all kinds of cleaners there. Very affordable. I'm gonna pick up the line of the little handheld ones. I don't have a good grill cleaner to store, and of course there's Chef's Temp. We sell those. That's a good product. Very competitive.
Yeah.
Works very good. That's the Boyer brush. They weren't there exhibiting, but they were there walking around. I don't know what you call that. There's a name for it. I forget what they call it.
Yeah,
but
it's called
supposed to do
bitch move, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were doing that.
Yeah.
And they came by the store right before that, and I bought some of those. That's a kind of a heavy duty brush, as you can see there. I'm anxious to get it. It's a little pricey. It's $79.
Yeah, but it looks like it could
it looks
last
like-
forever.
Yeah, and I really do think it's gonna really. I think it'll sell pretty good. There was that's the brisket pellet grill, and it's got AI. We put in Texas brisket, and it popped out a recipe for us. And that guy's name is Jason right there, and he said that it wasn't in there, that it was really AI technology. So everything is so not technology driven there. It's just amazing. Everything's got a temperature control. Everything is set it and forget it. Very I guess the Napoleon kettles were the only thing that were just normal. Maybe the drum, something you had to manage a fire a little bit. Everything else was, set it, forget it. That's what they're selling.
Were there any companies that didn't show up that you thought would be there?
Yeah. Weber wasn't there. Traeger wasn't there. There was one more I was looking for. Like I said, I thought maybe a drum company would be there. But Traeger not being there, I thought was real odd, because everybody and their brother was there. I don't know. They may have thought they didn't need to show their stuff. Who knows? It's an expensive commitment. They may be, at the hardware show next week in Vegas, whenever it is. They might be. I'm sure they'll be there.
If HPB was close to you next year, is it something you would go multiple days? Assuming you could free up at home, would you go a couple days?
Yeah. That's what I wish we could have done this year, was, go there, spend the night, then go back maybe, 3/4 of a day, then come home. I would have liked to have talked with the representatives longer to get a little more, like the Broil King you were talking about. They had a huge setup there, but we didn't even get to go to it, because we got tied up at Old Country Barbecue Pits, and we got tied up at the Halo exhibit. And the Halo exhibit was very interesting, a very interesting group of products there. I thought. I mean, they were a good group of people, and it's a legitimate, it's a legitimate company, I think.
We're talking with Steve Ray. He owns Owl's Nest Barbecue out there in Ottawa, Tennessee. OwlsNestBBQ.com is the website, giving us the recap of the HPBExpo that he visited last week. Steve, appreciate the insight, the pictures, and we wish you good luck with any new lines you're picking up, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, Greg, we'll keep you posted, man. Thanks.
All right,
appreciate it.
You just call me Jeff. We have Seth Sawyer ready to go. We'll get them here in just 1 second. Before we do that, we'll talk to you about Big Papa Smokers. Listen up, gang. Our friends at Big Papa Smokers have something special just for you, listeners of the show. Whether you're a seasoned pitmaster or a grilling noob, Big Papa Smokers is your one-stop shop for all things barbecue, from their championship rubs, mouth-watering sauces, essential accessories. They've got what you need to take your food to the next level. Doesn't matter if you're a competition cook or if you are a backyard cook just like me. Here's the cherry on top. Big Papa Smokers is offering listeners of the Barbecue Central Show an exclusive deal. Use promo code REMPE at checkout. That's REMPE, and you can get $10 off your next $50 purchase of rubs, sauces, or accessories. Imagine the possibilities. Evaluating your ribs with Big Papa's Sweet Money or Sweet Money Hot. Add Big Papa's Desert Gold to your chicken, or better yet, pick up Double Secret and put it on your steak. Head on over to BigPapaSmokers.com and start shopping today. And don't forget to use promo code REMPE, REMPE, at checkout to claim your $10 off your next order of $50 or more. Also, don't forget to check out Big Papa's full line of recipes at cookingwithbigpapa.com. And, of course, follow them on social media platforms for amazing recipes and tips. Current Backyard is next. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rimpey.
We thank Steve Ray for joining us last segment. OwlsNestBBQ.com is the website. This portion of the show being brought to you by JRE Tobacco, makers of premium hand-rolled cigars. Trying out different blends from the Aroa family demonstrates their expertise in mastering hard-to-grow tobacco varieties and then blending them into a smoking experience that's second to none. I have samples if you want. I have Corojo Reservas in Figurado. I also have Aladino Classics in the Corona. The 4x40s is what they are. JREtobacco.com to find a retailer near you. Helping me close the show this evening, the product manager for a brand that was showing off their new grill at the 2024 CES in Las Vegas a handful of weeks ago. Gained a lot of attention, some awards as well. And if you are in a spot where traditional live fire grills aren't allowed, or you're looking to get out of the traditional options and go electric, this is the segment for you. Let's head to the hotline and welcome back our pal Seth Sawyer to the show. Seth, appreciate you joining me here this evening. Before we get going on current, let me ask you the YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. If you were on the fence about SmokeSlam, you are now 100% down after last week's interview, yes or no?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. 100%.
All right. Do you love controversy or do you just love competition?
Competition.
Yes. All right. What's the background, Seth, of current Backyard? What's the vision?
Yeah, so I mean, the vision is really just to create a brand that embraces electric. It does everything a little bit different, but it really gives people an option that can't have those other fuel types, an option to do real outdoor cooking and plug it into just a standard, outdoor outlet. The company is backed by W.C. Bradley, which is a family-owned company that has Charbroil and Pit Boss, Louisiana Grills, Sabre, Oklahoma Joe's, a lot of brands that have been doing it for a long time. Charbroil goes back 75 plus years. And so Current is really almost like an internal startup. It's a completely separate team. But the benefit is we have kind of the resources and the history and the knowledge of that company behind us. And so we have a little bit more advantages than the average, startup might have.
Was there ever talk amongst the W.C. Bradley folks and then all the brands that are already in-house to put it under an existing brand instead of developing something brand new?
Yeah, this is something that's been in the works for a long time, and that was one of the biggest talking points early on. And the more we looked at it, the more we kind of felt like, Charbroil is really good at some specific things. Oklahoma Joe's, Sabre, a lot of our other brands, they're good at specific things, and this really needs to be something different. We don't want to necessarily have to stay within the confines of, what the Charbroil brand means or what the others, stand for. And so we thought it was best, and that we could ultimately give consumers the best experience if we did, a new brand that could create everything from scratch.
Why take this grill to the Consumer Electronics Show and unveil something versus a more traditional in the live fire space like an HPB or a national hardware show?
I think really it's twofold. First and foremost, this is a smart grill. It's digitally controlled. It does have an app that's got guided interactive cooks. It really helps, people. If you're a novice, we'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to get something perfect the very first time you ever turn the grill on. And so we really wanted to highlight that, and we felt like CES was an appropriate place for that. But the other thing is, this grill really is opening up the possibilities of outdoor cooking to a whole new demographic and a whole new segment of people that today aren't able to cook. People that are either in areas where they can't have gas or they can't have charcoal, or for a variety of reasons don't want to have those things, but also people that are just more tech oriented early adopters, and they've never paid much attention to the category. But when the right product comes along, it makes sense for them. And we felt like we would find those types of not only consumers but also media and stuff there at CES, and that really played out. I mean, we had a ton of traffic all 4 days of the show, and the majority of it was just people who were coming by and they're like, I would love to have one of these just as a consumer, no business ties or anything like that. Just I would love. We gave out a ton of samples of spices and some early access promo codes and stuff, and those people have really followed through on those.
Do you think that this is a show that we'll see more and more grill companies attend over the next few years?
I do. I think that no surprise, and you've talked about it on your show, but more and more tech is going into grills. Grills are becoming a little bit more of software driven. Not all grills, of course, but the grills that have control as an element of them are becoming more and more software driven. AI is going to be a thing that's not going away anytime soon. And so I think people understand the natural ties to smart home and connecting with some of those things and making things easier for people. And it's a way to reach some new outlets and some new customers as well.
So you briefly mentioned charbroil. Last time you were on the show, we were talking on the charbroil side about the Edge. So for the folks that are familiar with the Edge, they've also seen the current product that was unveiled at CES. Where does current separate itself from the existing Edge?
Yeah, it's really all about the technology. So from a spec standpoint, current's a little bit bigger. It's got 60 more inches of cooking space primary, and it has a warming rack as well. So overall, it's about 130 inches, 140 inches bigger of cooking space. But really where it comes into play is current's dual zone. It's not just a single zone, so you can do indirect cooking. That was some feedback, that we had heard with Edge. But the app is really what separates it. The current grill is fully connected. You can do everything on the control panel. You can set timers and all of your temperatures and everything. But if you go into the app, we've got a library of guided cooks and tips and tricks and what we call interactive recipes. And with those interactive recipes, you could go to something you've never done before. And where a traditional thing might say, set your grill to medium, this will say set grill to 430, and it's a button. You press it, it sends the command. We'll tell you when to flip food, when to remove it, how long to rest it. And so we're just making it a little more approachable. Not everybody needs that much coaching, but for the people that do, we want to make it more approachable and shorten their learning curve.
So you are putting a certain amount of onus on the operator, where if they're putting in a burger recipe, an interactive burger recipe, you're telling them you need burgers to be X size in order to get that recipe right. So there are some things that the cook has to do properly in order to make sure that that interactive recipe is being executed as best as possible.
That's correct. So we do have, all of the recipes are, the variables at play are grill temperature, internal meat temp, and time. But we do within the guides, we say, here's a recipe for a New York strip that's, a half inch thick versus 2 inches thick. Here's the differences in how you may want to cook those. And so we do give instructions on cut and preparation, as well as how you will cook them.
So we have dual zones. You can get up to 700 degrees. That's where it's listed at. That's a real achievable temperature.
Yeah, 700 degrees. The anodized aluminum grates do a really good job of providing fast heating, but also really even cooking temperatures. But 700 degrees is not a problem. That's not like you only reach that in lab settings. It'll get there in the real world in cold, in cold environments. And, a lot of people have asked, well, what do you cook at 700 degrees? And the answer is, well, you can sear the heck out of a steak for sure. And we've got some guides for how to do that. But the 700 degrees really is more about giving people confidence that if you want to cook it, let's say 500, and it happens to be 30 degrees outside, you can easily achieve that temperature and you can hold it there too. A lot of the other electrics, max at 500, 550, but as soon as you open the lid, the heat's gone and now you're 300 something degrees and you just can't get the result that you're looking for. And so The fact that it can hit 700, while you can use that for searing and things like that, it's really more of a reassuring thing to customers that you can hold the cooking temps that you want to use most commonly.
As this thing is starting to ramp up to set temperature, is there a certain amount of time you need to let it get to at that set temperature and then let it even out per se, or it doesn't matter once you're there, go ahead and drop your meat on, away you go?
It kind of just depends on what you're cooking. It's a lot like a gas grill, in terms of heat up time. In about 10 minutes, you're at your cooking temperatures. You're 400, 450 degrees. The ramp up curve kind of goes like this. And then once you get above, let's say 550, 600, it's a slower climb to get to the max temp. Just like a gas grill, it can take 40 minutes for a gas grill to totally normalize. But over time, as that temperature algorithm starts kind of, going up and down, it does get more even. And so if you're looking for, like, let's say on the griddle, because there is a griddle available as well, you're going to lay down a whole batch of pancakes and you want the browning to be even on all of them, it would be best to bring it up to the temp you want and then let it sit there for 10 minutes or so and kind of normalize over time. And so the grill works the same way, but depending on what you're cooking, that may or may not be important. If you're just throwing down a couple of hamburgers, that level of precision, maybe overkill.
How are you powering it?
It's standard. It's 110 volt, 1750 watts. And so that's the most common question we get. It doesn't require anything special at all. It plugs into a standard outdoor household outlet, 110 volt. The only thing we say is don't plug another appliance into the same circuit. But other than that, there's no special requirements. It comes with a 12-foot cord. And so, depending on the size of your patio, for most people, you're not going to need an extension cord. But there's no special requirements at all. It'll work with whatever you've got.
Other manufacturers, especially last year when I was pitching that full-size electric grills were going to be a thing next year, and we can debate whether or not that really happened or not. They wanted 220 or said, we buy into the concept, but we think 220 is the better way to go. If you had a 220 grill, would the performance be that much better because there's just more horsepower?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it's not a perfect correlation to say 220 versus 110 is like more BTUs, because BTUs is a misunderstood metric. More is not always hotter, faster, but absolutely. Like if we had a 220 volt version of current, we could easily hit higher temperatures. I don't know that we would want to, but we could easily go well above 700, probably more like 1,000.
Wow.
And we could hit temps. Our heat up time of 10 minutes probably becomes 6.5. Recovery times get faster. It gives you so much more juice. I mean, over in Europe, electric grills are a little bit more, they're really small. Full-size electrics are really small in the US. In Europe, they're a little bit bigger chunk of the market because they have access to, 220 and 240 power over there.
From a recovery standpoint, though, this is pretty in line with a charcoal grill or gas grill. Lift the top, flip burgers, flip steaks, and it's going to recover pretty quick.
It is. If you're using it, we've done some side-by-side tests. The same exact response, the same exact results and experience of using a gas grill, it does that. I mean, all grills, when you lift the lid, you're going to lose some temperature, and then when you shut it, you'll start to gain that back. But it performs just like a gas grill. I mean, you're not going to, it's not going to be a noticeable thing where the like a lot of other electrics on the market, where the first side gets a great sear mark and the second side's kind of gray and not really working too well. But this one, we've done even blind taste tests, and it just, you can't tell the difference.
Price tag?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on which configuration you buy. It starts at $799. So we have a griddle and a grill. They're two separate SKUs. There's multiple colors available as well, but griddle starts at $799. The grill starts at $899. And then because we don't have the propane tank to store, we have a system of accessories that the customer can choose to outfit their grill with that fit underneath in that space. There's a storage locker. There's some slide out bins. You can have an open cart or a cabinet. And so $799 and $899 are the two entry prices. And then you can add another 100 or two, depending on if you want to kind of fully outfit it or go with the more, basic model.
You had mentioned before that there were coupons out for pre-order or early access ordering. When are you looking to get it to market?
Yeah, so it's live right now. We launched with inventory on our website about 2 weeks ago. And so we had a code for the people that met us at CES. We actually today, there's another code running. There's a President's Day sale going on this week. And so if you look at currentbackyard.com right now, I think it's $200 off. And that will run for at least another couple of days. And so, we're about 2 weeks in. It's been exciting to watch kind of the orders and the sales and everything come in, and we're ready for the real grilling season kind of to get going. I know it's still cold, not so much in Georgia, but in a lot of the rest of the country, it's not quite grilling season yet.
Inventory standpoint wise, are you building to grilling season, or you're going to have enough to get you through if this thing becomes a gangbuster hit?
Yeah, with electronics, especially with the way the last couple of years have gone, supply can be a challenge, especially when you have radios and Wi-Fi boards and digital control. But we've built, we have an aggressive business case, and we've built a pretty stout monthly forecast, and we've ordered to that. And so hopefully we're so successful that we run out of stock anyway. But we're in a pretty good spot right now to support a successful launch.
We're talking with Seth Sawyer, the product manager over at Current Backyard, currentbackyard.com, the website. And as he said, there's a sale going on right now, at least for the next couple of days over President's Day. So if you're interested, if you are handcuffed by traditional live fire restrictions, or you just want to go electric, this is certainly something you should be checking out, especially if you want a full-size experience. Let's appreciate the time and continued success.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Seth Sawyer right there. So if you are interested, this is it, right? You want something that you can get a real grill experience. I don't want to say it's not a real grill, but a traditional live fire grill experience, but without the traditional live fire fuels. Current might be the one for you. 2 burners now, so you can set up indirect cooking if you would like. And it sounds like you get it fully outfitted, you're still, $1,100 or less. So considering the technology, connectivity, I think that's pretty much in line from a price perspective. Could certainly be more. And they're rolling out in a special way. So we will track the success of Current over the next handful of months, especially as we get into grilling season. I will try and give you an update to the poll when we come back. So stick around. Be right back.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back, and we thank Seth Sawyer for joining us. CurrentBackyard.com is the website if you're interested in checking out either the Current Griddle or the Current Grill. And again, $799, $899 griddle and grill, and then you can outfit it with a cabinet, some other stuff as well, pushing you over that $1,000 mark, at least for the grill. And $200 off right now at currentbackyard.com. Let's go ahead and get out of here. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with who? That's right, Dirk Mullins and Jody. These two right here. Oh, no, that's Steve. Sorry. Dirk Mullins and Jody Harris right there. And then, ribcookoffsassociation.com. And then we talked with this guy, Wes Wright, cookoutnews.com. Latest business dealings and new products. Second hour, Steve Ray, our pal over at Owl's Nest Barbecue, owlsnestbbq.com. And closing it out with Seth Sawyer at currentbackyard.com, talking about the Current Grill. A big show planned for you next year. Big show planned for you next week. How Do I Always Leave You? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. This is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to Barbecue Central.